Hello. Today it will be a vinyl collection video. You know how it works. I'll just go through and show you what I have. It'll be like a cassette tape video. It's all pretty random order except for a few things. But I'll start with the stuff up on the wall. Right here, you can barely see it in the corner. Fire Down Under by Riot, a very good album from 1981. Dokken, Under Lock and Key, my favorite of theirs, as I said before. Rat, Out of the Cellar, amazing album. Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith, one of their best. I have Megadeth, Train of Consequences single. It's like you can barely see it up there in the corner. Don't feel like getting it down. Yngwie Malmsteen Trilogy. A lot of these I have on cassette and vinyl, but I have a lot of vinyl that I don't have on cassette. So, Denim and Leather by Saxon, really good album. Ted Nugent, Weekend Warriors, great album, 1978. Dystopia by Megadeth, which I have signed by everybody that was in the band for that album, which is Chris Adler, not Dirk Verbeuren. Ted Nugent, Scream Dream, 1980, great album. Abigail by King Diamond, amazing album. Cinderella Night Songs, and Rainbow Rising. Now the rest I will pick up and show. I'll start off with like several of the same band here. The Amboy Dukes, which was Ted Nugent's first band. This is their second album called Journey to the Center of the Mind, 1968. Some solid stuff on there. I'm just about to put this stuff. Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes, Marriage on the Rocks, Rock Bottom. Another pretty good album. Their stuff isn't really great on the first few albums, but like the last two by them are really good. Ted Nugent, Survival of the Fittest Live. These are the two best Amboy Dukes albums if you want like some harder rock from them. Call of the Wild and Tooth, Fang, and Claw. Now this album cover, if you've seen the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Matthew McConaughey wears a shirt that has this album cover on it. I don't know if y'all picked up on that. Pretty interesting thing there. And I'll just go ahead and go through the rest of the Ted Nugent solo albums here. Ted Nugent's first album, self-titled, amazing album. Free for All, 1976, his second solo album. Great album. Cat Scratch Fever, 1978. 77 actually. Shit. Ted Nugent Double Odd Gonzo, one of the best live albums of all time. Weekend Warriors, I have it on the wall and a second copy. His first album with Charlie Hune on vocals and not Derek St. Holmes. State of Shock, 1979. And then Scream Dream was on the wall. And Intensities of 10 Cities, another really good live album. Which this is a pretty interesting album because none of these songs were like previously recorded. Him and his band just like played like a new song every night. Like on one of the tours, like Scream Dream tour, they played like 20 new songs and they picked like the 10 best recordings or something like that. Pretty interesting. Nugent from 1982. Penetrator, 1984. Really good album. Little Miss Dangerous, 1986. And If You Can't Lick 'Em, Lick 'Em, 1988. That's enough for Ted Nugent there. Bark at the Moon by Ozzy Osbourne, 1983. Really good album, his first with Jakey Lee. Savage Amusement by Scorpions, 1988. This would have to be my favorite Scorpions album. Not a very popular opinion, but it's my favorite. Tesla Mechanical Resonance, 1986. Great debut from them. Black and Blue in Heat. This is their album from 1988, fourth overall by them. Not their best, but not terrible. And here I have a Baby Metal Distortion single. It's the only Baby Metal thing I have because it's the only thing I've seen in the store. I buy all my stuff like from the record store pretty much. I don't really order anything online for the most part. Aerosmith, Night in the Ruts. Solid hard rock album right there. Metal Church's self-titled debut from 1984. Great album. And here I have Wasp, Golgotha. This is the latest album from Wasp, released in 2015. It's a Cool gatefold opening back here. Hopefully we get a new album from them sometime soon. Black Sabbath, Born Again, the first with Ian Gillan from Deep Purple. It's a solid, kind of overlooked album, 1983. Here's another Amboy Dukes, like Dr. Slingshot. Forgot to mention this before. Love at First Sting by Scorpions, 1984. It's their most popular album. It's got Rock You Like a Hurricane, Big City Nights. Billy Squier, Don't Say No. Really good guitar player. A lot of this stuff is like classic rock, not all metal. Foghat, Energized. Foghat is a great like bluesy hard rock band from the 70s, or most of their like well-known stuff is from the 70s. Foghat, Fool for the City, 1975. Yeah, really good album. Heart, Dreamboat Annie. It's their debut album. It's got some cool artwork in there. Solid band. Molly Hatchet, self-titled debut from 1978. Great southern hard rock. Most of my Judas Priest albums are together over there, but this one is out of place. Stained Class, 1978. This is my favorite Judas Priest album from the 70s. Great album. Alcatraz, No Parole from Rock and Roll. This has Yngwie Malmsteen on it. This is the second recording to feature him. Pretty good album. Not the second Alcatraz recording to feature him, just his second recording overall before he went solo. Y&T, Mean Streak, Dave Meniketti, good singer and guitarist. Pretty cool band, pretty underrated. Triumph, Allied Forces. Like I said, I have a lot of these on cassette and vinyl, which I'm sure you saw in the other video. Blackfoot, Tom Catton. Another great southern hard rock band. Cool album. Black Sabbath, The Eternal Idol. This is the first one with Tony Martin on vocals. An extremely underrated period in the band's history. This album, I would probably have I'd rank it probably 5th or 6th overall in their entire discography. So a lot of really great stuff from them on in that era of the band that is very overlooked. Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. I have some more Iron Maiden albums that aren't in place. They'll come up randomly. 1982, first one with Bruce Dickinson. Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Released in 1970s. Probably my favorite Ozzy era Sabbath album. Picking all these up, put them right here. Overkill, Horoscope, 1991. My favorite Overkill album. Solid from start to finish. Amazing band. If I was going to pick the big four of American thrash, they would definitely be in there. Wasp's self-titled debut from 1984. Cool art and pictures on here. Amazing band. Death, Symbolic, 1995, as I said in the other video, possibly the best death metal album of all time, if you want to consider it to be death metal, which I do. Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance, another Judas Priest album I have out of order, out of place, but second best Judas Priest album, behind Painkiller, I'd say. Power Slave by Iron Maiden, 1984. One of their top 3 best albums, I'd say. Except Balls to the Wall. Obviously the title track has one of the best riffs of all time. I have Zebra, self-titled. some diversity in here. Kiss Destroyer, 1976. One of their best from the 70s. I personally think 80s Kiss is a little bit better than 70s Kiss. I have Helix, Long Way to Heaven here. Pretty solid Canadian hard rock metal band, if you want to consider them to be metal. But Nazareth, Hair of the Dog. Good 70s hard rock band. They have like 12 albums that came out in the 70s. Kicks, Cool Kids. Good album. Raven, Stay Hard, which this is probably one of the worst album covers like ever. What the heck? You have this. On and On is a great song. Icon, pretty overlooked 80s hard rock, on the edge of metal band here. Cool stuff there. White Wolf, just another like pretty obscure band, I'd say. Heavy metal, definitely recommend checking them out. Dire Straits, some classic rock, hard rock, great guitar playing. Yeah. UFO, this one right here is for you, Eddie Trunk. UFO is a pretty good band. I got several UFO albums. Eddie Trunk is gonna love this. More UFO. Fastway, Waiting for the Roar. Everyone knows Fast Eddie Clarke's band after he left Motorhead. Here's the other UFO album, one of the other UFO albums. I think I have a couple more, or maybe at least one more, but Lights Out. Solid album. Kiss Love Gun. Pick some more up here. Judas Priest, Redeemer of Souls. Now this album, I would say, is for sure better than Firepower in my opinion. I just like it better. I don't know. I don't know if that's really a popular opinion or not. Dragonaut, Battle Cry, both amazing songs. Here I have Megadeth, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying, and no, this is not signed by the entire original band that played on it. It is signed by Mustaine and Ellefson, which I was at the signing and I set down all my records on the table, Dystopia first, and I assumed that Kiko Loureiro and Chris Adler would know not to sign this. Like, I was talking to Dave Mustaine just a little bit, like saying, hey, how's it going? Not really paying attention. Then I got to the end of the table and went to pick up my albums, and they were all signed by Chris Adler and Kiko Loureiro too, so it's like, what the heck? How are y'all gonna sign this? You know, I didn't play on it. But it's whatever. Megadeth, rest in peace. And I had So Far So Good, So What I briefly showed. Super Collider, Megadeth. 2013, not as bad as people act like it is. Hawaii. The Natives Are Restless. This could be my most rare vinyl, maybe. It's one of Marty Friedman's first bands. That's Marty right here. This is a pretty solid heavy metal album, speed metal. Definitely recommend checking it out, from 1985. King Diamond, Conspiracy, all the 80s, and really, King Diamond has never released a bad album, and it's been since 2007 since his latest album came out. He said a few years ago they were almost done, or they're working on it and it's still not out, so maybe they'll get that done soon. Draw the Line by Aerosmith. Interesting artwork there. So the drawings of the people in the band. Not a bad album. Kings and Queens, one of my favorite Aerosmith songs. Here's a like painkiller single thing I got like on Record Store Day a few years ago. Look like a saw. Fair Warning by Van Halen. All of the Roth era Van Halen albums are very good. Stone Blue by Foghat. Like I said before, great bluesy hard rock and roll. Back for the Attack by Dokken. 1987. Good album. Anthrax, Spreading the Disease. Really good album. Van Halen 2. Rage for, or it's Rage, not Rage for Order. Why the hell did I say that? Not Queensryche, just Rage here. Execution Guaranteed. It's a great, well, they're pretty good. I'd say they're good, like overlooked German thrash metal band. Better than Rage Against the Machine for sure. Keel, The Right to Rock, Ron Keel's band. Good stuff there. Crocus Headhunter. Halloween, Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2, which is my favorite of the two parts. Picking up my last batch down here right now. God. Rat, Invasion of Your Privacy. Really good album, 1985. Here's an even better album, Dancing Undercover, 1986. It's late, kind of tired. Peace of Mind, Iron Maiden, 1983. The Trooper, favorite Iron Maiden song. Got it on my arm there. The Book of Souls. Freaking, don't know if I can even fit this whole thing in the freaking camera. Pretty solid album. Not their best. Pyromania, Def Leppard. This is their best. 1983. Great album. Condition Critical by Quiet Riot. Yeah, not terrible, not great. Triumph, Rock and Roll Machine. They are a rock and roll machine. Triumph, Never Surrender. Triumph is a great band. Canadian hard rock. Thunder 7. Triumph. Perfect Strangers by Deep Purple. It's when Richie Blackmore came back to the band. Or the band got back together with everybody. 1984. Deep Purple. When we rock, and when we roll. Wait, we rock. When we rock, and when we roll. Why they gotta be difficult with this album name? Deep Purple, Fireball. Good album. Sheenhead here by Deep Purple. Probably their best. Aerosmith, self-titled debut. Everyone knows Aerosmith. Got Rocks by Aerosmith, my favorite album of theirs. My favorite song, I don't know, probably Rats in the Cellar. Dokken, Tooth and Nail. Another great album from them. Oh my, here's another UFO album, Obsession, which describes Eddie Trunk's thing for them. Obsessed. Rockarola, Judas Priest, picture disc. Judas Priest Turbo. Point of Entry by Judas Priest here, 1981. Really good overlooked album. Unleashed in the East by Judas Priest. one of the best live albums of all time. Hellbent for Leather, aka Killing Machine. Sin After Sin, 1977. All these albums are really good by Judas Priest, by the way. Sad Wings of Destiny. I think this is my last one. 1976. Just looking around here. Yep. That is it. Decent little collection, I'd say. Oh, I have this one more. It's a little embalmer. There Was Blood Everywhere. This is 45. Yeah. Death metal. But yeah. Till next time. Thank you.